Starbucks' landmark store in Shanghai's Xintiandi, which had been open for 24 years, has permanently closed. Recently, Starbucks has been shutting down stores across major Chinese cities. The Xintiandi store in Shanghai is gone, along with locations in Shenzhen's MixC Mall, Beijing's Sanlitun, Guangzhou's World Trade Center, Chongqing's Three Gorges Square, and Changsha's first ever Starbucks. Starbucks was once known for its upscale, business-friendly atmosphere, catering to the middle class. Now, reports suggest the company is considering selling its China operations. China is Starbucks' second largest market worldwide, so why is it struggling there? Experts point to three main reasons. First, China's work culture has become more intense. Official data shows that the average weekly working hours for employees in Chinese companies increased from 46 hours in 2018 to 49 hours in 2023. At the same time, the way people consume coffee in China has fundamentally changed. A report on the coffee industry shows that consumers are no longer just drinking coffee for leisure and relaxation. Instead, they're increasingly using it to stay alert while studying or working. Starbucks thrived in China for over 20 years, not because of its 30 yuan coffee, but because of its spacious 200 square meter stores that provided a third place, a social space outside of home and work. However, as coffee becomes more closely tied to intense mental work, Starbucks' carefully designed social spaces have lost their original appeal. When choosing between a 30 yuan cup of coffee and a 9.9 yuan alternative to stay awake during overtime, the cheaper option is the obvious choice. The second reason is the price war over 9.9 yuan coffee. Budget coffee brands like Luckin and Coty have shaken up the industry, challenging Starbucks' position. While they aren't solely responsible for Starbucks' struggles, they were the final blow. Take the price war as an example. In early 2023, Coty Coffee announced it had 7,000 stores worldwide and launched an unlimited 9.9 yuan promotion. By May 2023, Luckin followed with its own weekly 9.9 yuan offer, officially igniting a price war in the coffee industry. Despite facing fierce competition from Luckin and Coty, Starbucks still hit a record high revenue of $36 billion in the 2023 fiscal year. Starbucks CEO Laxman Narasimhan specifically praised the Chinese market in the company's financial report, saying that in China, revenue has continued to grow quarter over quarter, with the second half of the year seeing a 20% increase compared to the first half. This suggests that Starbucks' decline in China is not simply due to a price war. Instead, the biggest and most fundamental reason is the sudden financial downfall of many middle-class consumers starting in 2024. When China's economy was booming, the middle class valued brands. Drinking Starbucks was seen as a status symbol and a lifestyle choice. Back then, Starbucks could charge premium prices by offering high-end products and better service. Middle-class consumers were willing to pay extra for the brand experience. But now, in 2024, as real estate prices in major cities have plummeted, many middle-class homeowners are finding their properties worth less than their debts. On top of that, layoffs and salary cuts have pushed many middle-class individuals down to the lower economic tier. They no longer have the money or the mindset to spend on expensive Starbucks coffee. That's why Starbucks' high-end marketing strategy is losing its appeal. For many people now, coffee is just a way to stay awake, not a luxury experience worth paying extra for. Media reports have also pointed out that the actual cost of a Starbucks coffee is just 4 yuan. Those who have fallen out of the middle class are no longer willing to pay for the brand's hefty markups. According to reports from International Finance News and China Business Journal on February 26, several major private equity firms, including KKR, Mountainvest Partners, and PAG, are interested in acquiring a stake in Starbucks China. Additionally, China Resources Group and Meituan have reportedly held preliminary discussions with Starbucks about a potential purchase. International Finance News also reported that Starbucks Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Rachel Ruggeri is expected to visit China in the coming weeks for negotiations regarding the sale of equity. Meanwhile, China Business Journal noted that Starbucks has not explicitly denied plans to sell its China business, while potential buyers have declined to comment. As for why Starbucks might be selling its stake, or even potentially exiting the Chinese market, China Business Journal cites sources close to the company, saying that given the increasingly fierce competition in China, Starbucks has been looking for local business partners for some time. The financial report for quarter 3 of 2024 shows that Starbucks China's revenue was $780 million, a 7% decline compared to the previous year. Same-store sales in China dropped 14%, transaction volume fell by 6%, and the average spend per customer declined by 8%. This marks the third consecutive quarter of declining revenue and same-store sales, signaling that Starbucks China is on increasingly shaky ground. Some Some online commentators believe that Starbucks' decision to exit China is not only due to the country's economic downturn, but also influenced by political considerations. Back in 2022, during the Russia-Ukraine conflict, many Western countries imposed sanctions on Russia, leading several Western companies to withdraw from the Russian market, including Starbucks. In March 2022, Starbucks announced it would suspend its operations in Russia. By May 23rd of the same year, the company confirmed its full exit, shutting down 130 stores and ending its 15-year presence in the country. However, an interesting development occurred in June 2024, when reports surfaced that Starbucks had submitted 8 trademark registration applications to the Russian Federal Service for Intellectual Property. These applications included names like Starbucks Coffee and Frappuccino. Some online users argue that Starbucks' initial withdrawal from Russia was a political statement, influenced by worsening U.S.-Russia relations and concerns over business security. Now, with the company seeking to register trademarks in Russia again, it suggests that Starbucks executives may be anticipating a potential shift in U.S.-Russia relations. If tensions ease, Starbucks could be preparing for a return to the Russian market. If that's the case, then Starbucks' exit from China might not be solely a business decision. Instead, it could be a strategic move in anticipation of a full-scale confrontation between the U.S. and China. Unlike other American companies in China, such as those in manufacturing, electronics, or tech, which are deeply integrated into China's supply chain, Starbucks operates in the food and beverage sector, which is more closely tied to culture and ideology. If U.S.-China tensions escalate, businesses like Starbucks could be among the first to face backlash. At the same time that Starbucks is scaling back in China, reports have emerged that Mercedes-Benz China has begun large-scale layoffs, confirming earlier rumors. According to the media outlet AutoPixel on February 26, Mercedes-Benz China held discussions with some employees and immediately initiated layoffs, cutting about 15% of its workforce. This round mainly affects the sales and automotive finance divisions, specifically Mercedes-Benz China Sales Limited and Mercedes-Benz Auto Finance Limited, while the research and development division remains unaffected. Laid-off employees will receive severance packages based on the formula N+9, meaning regular severance plus 9 months' worth of salary. Additionally, if they do not find a new job within 2 months, Mercedes-Benz China will continue to pay their salaries for March and April. This means that the maximum compensation could reach N+11, far exceeding the severance packages offered by Volkswagen China, N+6, and Tesla, N+3 last year. A source close to Mercedes-Benz China revealed that this layoff is widespread, affecting almost every department in the sales and finance divisions. A significant portion of the laid-off employees were on permanent contracts. Reports indicate that just 1 day before the layoffs were announced, Mercedes-Benz China held an employee meeting led by Mercedes-Benz Group Chairman Ola Källenius. One attendee noted that while layoffs were not explicitly mentioned, most employees already sensed what was coming. On February 20th, Mercedes-Benz released its 2024 fiscal report, showing a net profit of $10.8 billion, a 28% decline year over year. The company attributed this drop primarily to a decrease in sales, particularly in China, which led to a 3% decline in global sales. To address the weak sales performance in China, Mercedes-Benz announced a series of personnel changes on December 11, 2024. The company's severance package, offering compensation as high as N+9 or even N+11, has sparked intense debate on Chinese social media. Many netizens have used this as an opportunity to mock domestic Chinese car companies, comparing them unfavorably to foreign brands like Mercedes-Benz. They sarcastically refer to Chinese EV companies as private enterprises and contrast their treatment of employees with severance packages offered by global car makers. One viral comment pointed out the stark contrast in corporate practices.
Mercedes-Benz is laying off employees because sales are down. China's auto industry is simply too competitive, and traditional luxury brands can't keep up. But the most absurd part is that in the same brutally competitive market, foreign companies offer sky-high severance, while private Chinese companies expect employees to work at their own expense just to survive. Foreign companies buy time with money. Private companies trade survival for unpaid labor. A few months ago, Jiyue Auto, another Chinese automaker, reportedly laid off a large portion of its workforce without any prior notice. Employees suddenly found their Social Security contributions cut off, and company-wide chat groups were locked down. Those who remained were given 2 choices: accept a minimal N+1 severance package or continue working without pay.
Many online users criticize Chinese car companies for claiming to be on par with Mercedes-Benz and Maybach in branding, but failing to uphold the same standards when it came to employee treatment. They argued that severance compensation reflects the company's respect for its employees and its commitment to ethical business practices. Foreign companies like Mercedes-Benz, Tesla, and Volkswagen provide additional financial support to cushion employees from job loss. Their layoffs are not a personal rejection of workers, but rather a recognition for their long-term value and a demonstration of respect for contractual obligations. In contrast, Chinese private companies often treat labor laws as the upper limit of what they're willing to offer, rather than a baseline. Many use buzzwords like structural optimization and eliminating weak performers to justify cost-cutting measures that ultimately shift business risks onto employees. Simply put, foreign companies see employees as assets. Many domestic firms treat them as expendable. That's why so many people prefer working for foreign companies. Each time a foreign firm announces layoffs, employees at least receive a decent severance. If losing your job is inevitable, the least you can hope for is to leave with dignity. As some online commentators put it, for foreign companies, labor laws are the minimum standard. For private Chinese firms, labor laws are the absolute ceiling. And for some companies, even that lower limit is as bad as the Geneva Convention for prisoners of war. It's a surreal reality. According to China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, the talent gap in the country's 10 key manufacturing industries has reached nearly 30 million workers. At the same time, sectors like food delivery and ride-hailing are becoming saturated. Yet, despite widespread labor shortages, many young people are unwilling to enter the job market. The reason is simple. If businesses focus only on efficiency while ignoring worker dignity, and if they prioritize profits without improving wages and benefits, then no matter how much the industry upgrades, the labor shortage will only get worse. Beyond Starbucks and Mercedes-Benz, another major U.S. company, IBM, has announced its withdrawal from China. Starting March 1, 2025, IBM will shut down its subsidiary, IBM China Investment Company Limited, along with its branches, bringing an end to 32 years of local research and development operations. The closure could affect more than 1,800 employees across Beijing, Shanghai, and Dalian. Reports suggest that some offices, including the Beijing location, have already begun dismantling equipment. As China's economy continues to struggle and geopolitical uncertainties grow, Western tech giants are scaling back their presence in the country. IBM's financial performance in China has been declining, with revenue dropping around 20% in 2023. In the first half of 2024, IBM's China revenue fell by 5% year-over-year, while its global revenue grew by 1% over the same period. Meanwhile, a new controversy involving a Chinese company has sparked discussions about so-called self-funded employment. A viral social media post revealed that Zhongfu Aluminum, a company based in Guangyuan, Sichuan, allegedly forced employees to purchase between 10,000 and 30,000 shares of company stock. Employees were reportedly told they had to complete the purchase within 2 days or face demotion or dismissal. The story quickly caught media attention. When a media outlet contacted the company's HR department for confirmation, the staff member who answered the phone simply said, "I don't know," and then hung up. On the morning of February 24th, Dahua News reached out to Zhongfu Aluminum's parent company, Henan Zhongfu Industrial, for a response. A company representative claimed the stock purchase was voluntary, but admitted that some middle managers had been too aggressive in enforcing the policy, making it seem mandatory. Online reactions were sharp. Some speculated that the company was struggling financially and was trying to raise funds from employees, but backed down after being exposed. Others likened the situation to illegal fundraising, pointing out that many private companies in China operate this way, forcing employees to invest in a company that isn't even publicly traded, often resulting in financial losses for workers. The first 2 months of 2025 have been filled with economic and geopolitical turbulence. Just as China faces a worsening economic downturn and an exodus of foreign investment, Donald Trump has thrown another shockwave into global capital markets, one that could deal a serious blow to China's economy. On February 25th, while signing an executive order at the White House, Trump announced plans to overhaul the EB Immigrant Investor Visa program. He declared that the U.S. would soon offer permanent residency permits for approximately $5 million, effectively replacing the existing EB investment visa system. Some online commenters believe this move specifically targets wealthy Chinese individuals. For those who have been hesitant about emigrating to the U.S., this policy could serve as a final push. For China's wealthy who have not yet transferred their assets overseas but are eager to leave, securing a safe and efficient way out is a top priority. The existing EB-5 program has a lower financial threshold, but requires investors to go through a lengthy process and create jobs in the U.S. The new policy, simply purchasing a golden visa for $5 million US, eliminates these complexities, making it significantly more attractive. Many netizens pointed out that China has a large number of individuals whose wealth is difficult to disclose through official channels. If they were to follow the traditional EB-5 process, they might not even make it through the application before being flagged by Chinese authorities. High net worth individuals have long been among the most closely monitored groups in China. As a result, many wealthy individuals have wanted to leave but lacked the courage to act. Now, Trump's policy sends a clear and direct signal. This could be their last chance to get out. The impact on China's wealthy elite and capital outflows could be significant. Amid escalating tensions between China and the U.S., Starbucks' withdrawal from China has drawn widespread attention. For China's struggling middle class, their situation even worse than that of Starbucks employees. While Starbucks workers may lose their jobs, at least they will receive fair severance pay. More importantly, they're getting something many Chinese workers can only dream of: dignity in the workplace.